Welcome back, traders. This is my market outlook on gold USD for the week of June 29th. The month of June is nearly over. We still have one more day, but I haven't looked at gold in a while, so I thought I'd go ahead and give you my higher time frame analysis. So taking a bird's eye view on the monthly chart, we see that gold consolidated for 4 years between 2020 and 2024. Then we had a massive rally of plus 60% to where we're currently at today. Now, I don't necessarily want to be calling the top. We could continue higher for all I know, but it's hard to not think that we're going to be going to get a pullback. So I'm going to work my way down to the daily chart, framing price action both ways, to the upside and to the downside. And then at the end, I'll tell you what I'm looking for going into this week. So looking at this rally, we only had one pullback here back in November 2024. If we start trading back down below these down candles, that's a change in the state of delivery on a monthly time frame, and we could be looking to return back into this consolidation. But we're currently trading above these down candles, so let's go ahead and zoom into the most recent price action. So I want to frame it both ways. Let's start with the downside. My attention immediately goes to both of these fair value gaps. This lower one I like better because it aligns with the order block here, but price will reach this upper fair value gap first. So of course this upper one is going to be the first downside target. Now if you look at these candles, price went up and down and up and down and up. So this I'm considering as a balanced price range. There's no inefficiencies, no fair value gaps. So if we are going to go to these monthly BISTs, price has a lot of resistance in the form of this balanced price range before we can go through and reach our target. So it has a lot to contend with. I'm not saying it can't get there, but it's going to be tough. We're going to need a really strong catalyst. Now to the upside, there's only the buy side liquidity above this all-time high. So I need to go down to the weekly chart and get more details. Now, one more thing I want to note before we go down to the weekly chart is this wick right here on the monthly chart. I'm going to go ahead and highlight the 50% of this lower wick and see if it aligns with anything as we go down to the weekly chart. Now, looking at the weekly, we've been consolidating for the past 2 months or so, and we don't have any inefficiencies here to work off of. Now, I do see that 50% of that monthly lower wick, and it's interesting to see that the bodies on the weekly candles respecting it. Also, we did use this weekly fair value gap and then rallied above this high just by a little bit, kind of creating relative equal highs, so these are going to be the bullish signs that I'm getting from the weekly chart. Now for the bearish signs, after taking out this high, we closed below these two up candles. So there's a change in the state of delivery. We may be heading lower in the short term. And notice how this low is at 50% of this monthly balanced price range. I think if we go below this low, there's a good chance we could be drawing towards these monthly fair value gaps. But if we fail to take out this low and we start to rally, so for example, we come back into this weekly BIST and then we start rallying above, going away from this balanced price range, well then all-time highs is going to be the target that I set my eyes on. So this low is going to be a key factor in deciding whether we will go higher or lower. So I want to keep a close eye on this low as we go into the daily chart. Now on the daily chart, we took out this buy side here above this high, but notice how both the daily candles here, we only have wicks above this high. We didn't close above this high. So that's telling me this was a stop hunt, and we will want to look for sell side liquidity. Now we do have a daily SIBI that was respected, and then we came down for the sell side liquidity below these equal lows. So at least in the near term, I'm looking for price to continue down. Now this low is definitely going to be a sell side target going into this week. But like I said on the weekly chart, I want to pay attention to how price behaves around 50% of the monthly lower wick. Also, we have this weekly BIST. How does it behave if we return back into this weekly fair value gap? And of course, taking out this low is going to make me think that we can head for lower prices and taking a projection from this high to this low, we have -2 standard deviation right here at the high of this weekly fair value gap. So this would be the next target should we take out this low. Now for the bullish side, after we take out this short-term low, now I still think this low is going to be taken, but should we start bouncing off of these higher time frame PD arrays, ideally without taking out this low, then of course I'm looking for new all-time highs. And I would do a projection from, let's say, this low right here to this high to see if we can find any projected targets. So zooming out here, we have -0.5 standard deviation. This will be the first target above all-time highs. Now, one more thing that I discovered that was quite interesting. If you take this right here, where we had a sell side liquidity sweep, we project from this low to this high, you can see how we reached -1.5 standard deviation as the all-time high before we started consolidating. And if you go ahead and just use the bodies of these candles, you can see that between -2 and -2.5 standard deviation, that's pretty much where we have our ceiling. All of these highs right here, we don't have any of the bodies within this -2 standard deviation, and only the wicks do go up into this range. So this could be topping out, but of course, it looks kind of flat with this consolidation, so we do have buy-side liquidity above these highs. Should we start bouncing off of these PD arrays, I would be looking for new all-time highs, and of course, getting rid of this, I have a -0.5 standard deviation target if we go much higher than that, and of course, -1 if we start getting really strong. So there you have it. I framed price in both directions and told you what I'll be watching for before deciding to go long or short, and what targets I'll be looking for. But remember, this is not trading advice. This is just for entertainment purposes only. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm just some random dude on YouTube that likes to look at charts. I hope you find this entertaining. You can help support me by giving this video a like and subscribing for more of my market outlooks. But until we meet again, safe trading.